Good evening, welcome back to our weekly question and answer series for Anash.org. Question: I broke my foot and can't walk without crutches or a scooter. May I go to shul on Shabbos with the crutches or the scooter in a place where there isn't an Erev? A person which cannot walk without crutches could walk and take out the crutches and walk with it on Shabbos, even a place where there isn't an Erev. Shulchan Aruch is Paskend Simeshin Aleph Sif Yud Zayin. A person, a chiger, a person which cannot walk without a stick, could take and walk on Reshis Harabim with a stick, although it's not connected to him, it's not tied to him. Since he cannot walk without that, and he takes it because he wants to walk with it, he could walk with it on Shabbos and it's not a problem. If he could walk without the crutches, he cannot take it out in the Reshis Harabim where there isn't an Erev. So a person which cannot walk without crutches, yes, could walk on a street which doesn't have an Erev, to go to shul or to go out anytime. Regarding a scooter, is in Shal Shiv's Igros Moshe or a Chaim Chaylik Dalat Simmer Tzadik says also you could take out the scooter and walk with it if you cannot walk without that. Because it says it is as if it is your shoes. The same as you could walk out on the street with shoes. The same is also you could walk out with a scooter, since that you could walk only through that. So it's like your shoes or your other clothing, which is a malbish, and you could walk with it. Although it's not connected, it's not on top of you like clothing or shoes, but since you cannot walk without, you could walk you could take a scooter outside. And he says that you look in Tosfos, the whole heter that we said before, that a person could not walk without crutches, could walk at Reshis Harabim with the crutches, we learn from a person which doesn't have a feet and he has a special chair, he walks through that. So we see even a scooter is mutter to go out in the street where there isn't the Erev. And this is also how it's mashma in Shal Shiv's Raf Peulim, Chaylik Aleph Simchov Hai, and also in Har Tzvi or a Chaim Simikif Ai. So again, a person could walk with crutches or a scooter. If he has both, it is kedai to use the crutches, which everybody agrees that you could use outside without an Erev, rather than scooter, which there are a minority which say you could not walk outside with a scooter. But if he only has a scooter, you could walk also with a scooter, as Ramoshe and the Har Tzvi and other poskim are matter. Question: can a woman that is expecting go to a cemetery, to the yard side of her parents? In Shal Shiv's Minchas Yitzchak, Chaylik Yid Zimmerman Bais writes that he is trying to find a source for the minhag not to go in a cemetery, a lady which is expecting. And he says he didn't find any Makar Kudum, a Makar, a source, a source from previous poskim. But if you look in Sefer Shevet Miser, which is a Miser Sefer, he writes in Perik Chov Dalat Sif Teh Zayin, he writes that a person, a lady which is expecting, should not go into any place where there is a tumah or a reich ru, because the child is created by what the mother sees. Therefore, she shouldn't go into a mokum which is tumah, which that means also a beis achaim, a beis akvaras. But in a case which a person has yortzeit and her parents, she could be makel and go, because the poskim write that even things which the Shulchan Aruch says that you shouldn't go. For instance, some ladies in some condition that they shouldn't go into a shul, which is mentioned in Shulchan Aruch. And even though the poskim write that when it comes to Yomim Neruim, she could go into shul, because it's a big tsar not to go in shul Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. So in order to make her feel good, she could go in, even in a time which usually all year round she's not permitted to go into a shul. So the Orchos Chaim from Spink in the end of Simon Paiches writes that the same is also to go into Beis Chaim. Although we are machmir not to go into Beis Chaim in some conditions, if it is a thing which will make a lot of agmas nefesh and tsar, you could go. Kolshken, for sure, going into Beis Chaim for a lady which expects, which is not, you don't have a previous makar, so you could be a meikel in such a time that you have to go, and it will bring a lot of agmas nefesh, you don't go. Question. In a previous shir, you mentioned that Maser needs to be taken from gift cards. We did not know this, and we have received many gift cards over the years, so we have no way to calculate how much we received in order to give Maser. What do we do? The answer is you don't do anything, because you didn't give, it's over. Especially if we say that it's a minik, it's only a minik toif, or even a drabonon. So if you have a suffix, you don't have to do anything. If you want, you could give a little bit more tzedakah on the cheshbon of Maser, which you should have given from the gift card. But basically, you don't have to do anything, and at least from now on, you should take Maser from the gift cards. Question. What is the earliest time in the morning for daily shiurim? Chitas, Rambam, daily Tilim, Parshas Amon, or all other shiurim? One wants to do a person wants to do on a specific day. When is the first time which he could begin? Also, what about the evening before, after Tzeis? For example, if he wants to learn daily Chimish on Sunday, Yites Adar Aleph, can one learn it Motzei Shabbos before at night? So the answer is Tilam is, you say after Tefillah Shachas. The Friedrich Rebbe wanted it should be said after Tefillah Shachas, a part of davening. So you don't say before davening. All of the shiurim you could say whenever you want, even the night before. So Rambam, if you want to learn Rambam the night before, or all of the shiurim which you learn for that day, you could learn it at night. As a matter of fact, I don't know for sure, but I heard that the Rebbe used to learn the Rambam from the next day. He used to learn the night before. Regarding Chumash, we know we don't learn Chumash at night, and we don't say Tilim at night, because it's considered it is Torah Shebeksav. In Torah Shebeksav, we don't learn at night. So Chumash, you don't learn the next day Chumash the night before, but all other shiurim you could learn the night before. Even Chumash you could learn after Chatzos at night, because after Chatzos you could learn already Chumash. Question. If one left the dishwasher on before Shabbos, and when it ends, can you open it on Shabbos if the small light will not go off immediately, but it will eventually later go off. It won't go off if you don't open the dishwasher. It basically waits till you open it, and then it delays till it goes off. And the answer is no, you cannot open the dishwasher if by you opening the door will make that the light will go off. Even though it won't go off right away, it is not considered a gruma. Because the poskim write, you could see Mishnah Berurah Simachin Tezayin Safsif Kud Yid, and other poskim, if a person wants to capture an animal through a dog, he has a special dog which captures animals. Since the way how to do it is to send the dog to capture an animal, that's not called a gruma. And the Mishnah Berurah writes in the other Simon Rashni Bayis in Bir Halacha, that the poskim agree that all the maluchas, which the way how to do it is by doing a thing and then it happens afterwards, that's not called a gruma, although you have something else which helps it. And this is also what in Shivas Achiezer Chayle Gimel Simsamach writes, that anything which, although you don't do it direct, but the way how to do it is by you do something and it will happen afterwards, therefore it's considered as you do it, it's not a gruma. And this is basically what the poskim write. All the poskim agree that that's not called a gruma. So we use this heter of gruma only in a time which you have a person which is sick, a sick person, or hefset, or in the security community. So then we rely on all this kind of grumas. And that's why the Mechon LaTechnologia from Rabbi Halpern in Yerushalayim made all kind of things which is only through a gruma, but he only was matter, and all the poiskim was matter only for hospitals, for the military, but anything which is not a tzoyrech, gudel, it is not considered a gruma if you do it, even though it's delayed a little bit. So therefore, no, you cannot open the dishwasher if the light will turn off after you open it. Question: is the part Kail Erech HaPayim, which we say after Tachnan, Monday and Thursday, before Kriyas HaTorah, is it a part of Tachnan or is it a part of Kriyas HaTorah? For instance, a person which davens at home, which there is no Kriyas HaTorah, does he say Kail Erech HaPayim or not? Or a person which davens in a shul and is going to listen to Kriyas HaTorah, but is in the middle of davening, does he need to say Kail Erech HaPayim or not? The answer is Yemate Moshe Omad who avoid the Simar Reish Aleph. It's brought down also in Shara Koil Perigit Aleph Osid Alet. Says, what is the reason why we say Kail Erech HaPayim? He says, since we are going to read now in the Torah, and unfortunately we made some kind of sins which we were over on the Torah, and the Rebbeinu Shloilom is Marich Apoy. He has a Rachmonas on us, and it takes his time not to punish us in order we should be able to do tshuva. So therefore, before we take out the Torah, before Kriyas HaTorah, and we're going to see the Torah which we, Rahman al-Islam, were over on his commands. So therefore, we say Kail Erech HaPayim to show that the Rebbeinu Shloilom waits until we do tshuva. So we see from this that it's shaykh to Kriyas HaTorah. And therefore, when a person davens b'yichidas at home, he does not say Kail Erech HaPayim. And this is also which are found afterwards in Isha Yisruel, Parik Chovuv Os Beis, which brings down from Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach that it belongs to Kriyas HaTorah, and therefore you should not say it b'yichidas. Question: while a person davens and he cleans his nose with a tissue, are we to worry that the moisture goes through the tissue? If yes, Anytime he cleans his nose with a tissue, does he have to unwrap his tefillin and wash his hands each time? The Alter Rebbe writes in Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tzadik Bai Siv Zayin, from the Remu Siv Zayin M'Shem Nemaril, that if a person touches Tzoyis Af or Tzoyis Oizen, that means the tzoya which comes out from his nose or his ears, it is b'chlal tenoifes, and he cannot daven, he cannot touch his nose and his ears while he davens, only through a beged. Since it is considered tzoya and it is tenoifes, so he can only touch his nose or his ears through a beged. The same also arises the Chai Odem Klal Chov Beis Sif Tes. If a person touches his nose and he touched it without a beged, and if he doesn't have water, at least he has to be manaki his hands. That means he should clean his hands by wiping it on the wall or on the table. And the Aruch HaShulchan Siman Tzadik Bayis writes, "V'lo re'isi nizurim zeh." That means I didn't see people should be makbet. That means we didn't see that people should wash hands when they touch their nose or their ear without a beged. And he continues, I think and I hold that for touching the dirt which comes out from the ear or the nose, you don't need to wash with water. It is enough to wipe your hands on the wall on the table, like the Chai Odom says, and that's the minik. He says, and there are some people which are choilik and holds that if you touch your nose, you don't need to wash and do anything. And that's the Gru and the Morik Tziu, the Avatz. So we see over here like this. The Remu and the Alter Rebbe writes that you should touch your nose and your ear only through a beged. If you touched without that, they don't say exactly what you should do. The Chaya Udam and the Aruch HaShulchan writes that you don't need to wash your hands. You could wipe it b'chol middah de minke. That means you could wipe it on the wall, on the table, on anything, and that's enough. The Gru and the Yavatz in Morik Tziu say that when you touch your nose and it's wet, you don't need to do anything. The Aishlav Rum B'Chucheruf writes also that he agrees also basically to what the psak of the Chai Udim Aruch HaShulchan. He was before them. He says that if you touch the dirt from your nose or your ears, it's enough that you should wipe it on the wall, because it's not really considered like tzoya. And he writes and he finishes, it is only a chimra, a midas chasidus, if you could wash your hands or you could rub it off. So from all this we see that when you touch dirt from your nose, washing the hands, you could be Michael. What you should do, you should wipe your hands on the wall or on the table. So that's when you touch direct your nose or your ears. But we don't see anywhere that we are choishish that, like the Alter Rebbe says, you should use a baguette. We don't see that there's a chashash that by touching the baguette, which is wet, you should become toma. It doesn't say. It says you should wipe your nose through a baguette. Now, if by wiping your nose through the baguette, you will feel some kind of moisture, we don't see anywhere that you have to wash your hands. So to answer your question, if you wipe your nose with a tissue, although you feel some kind of moisture, for sure you don't have to take off your tefillin from your hands and wash your hands. The maximum, if you want, you should wipe your hands on the wall or on the table, and that's enough. And even that, it's only a chimra in Midas Chassidus. Okay, thank you for joining us, and please join us again next week and send in your questions to inbox@Anash.org. Good night and have a wonderful week.